Hi everyone, this is Online Kazakh Film Week organized by the Embassy of Kazakhstan in the United Kingdom. Today we are screening Paris Song, a film on the life of the celebrated 20th century Kazakh singer Amre Kashaubayev. I'm extremely pleased today to be joined by Professor Peter Rollberg and the lead actor of the film, Sanjar Madi. Professor Peter Rollberg is one of the few experts on Kazakh cinema in the West. His new impressive title, The Cinema of Soviet Kazakhstan from 1925 to 1991, An Uneasy Legacy, came out earlier this year. And Sanjar Madi is one of the best-known and most active contemporary Kazakh performers. He graduated from Zhurgenov Academy of Arts in Almaty and New York Film Academy. He has over 30 roles in his filmography, which ranges from historical dramas to action films, from superhero movies to art house films. Thank you, Sanjar, for joining us today and carving time out of your incredibly busy schedule.
Thank you for inviting. Hi, everyone.
Sanjar, I'd like to start from the film in question. Could you tell us about the Paris Song, and had you ever thought about playing Amre Kashaubayev before being cast in the film?
Literally, it's like it's very hard story, even in pre-production, because the cast was they tried to cast it during 3 years in a row. So every single year they called me. I went to the audition, and every time they just disappeared after that. And on the third time they called me, and I was like, "Come on, guys, it's not funny," because every time I was learning a lot of words. The third time they told me, like, we have director, we have sponsors, we have plan, schedule, and etc. And after a week after my audition, they called me and introduced me with the director, Jeff Vespa from California, Los Angeles. It was like a big bunch of days when we were making pre-production. I went starting to learn how to play the national Kazakh instrument dombra, how to even imitate, how to sing like Amre's like song at that time, because it's like a specially thing. Not it's not like a pop singer, you know. There's no bit. He was singing as he felt, so that was a problem.
Did you have some consultants from singing department? I don't know.
I asked my friend. He's one of the best dombra players in Kazakhstan. His name is Nurjan Tajikenov, and I asked him to give me some master classes how to play. I bought a dombra, and every night and every day, every time I had like free time, I was just trying to play the strings. And my job was to show to the imitation of a real player. When we shot like very close up, it was Nurjan's hands playing the dombra, and when it was like a wide shot or middle shot, it was my hands. But I needed to learn how to play with my left hand, because it was very important, because our audience, most of them will know how to play dombra, so I needed to learn how to play like I'm pro. And about singing, yeah, I've got some like couples of teachers. They showed me how to move, how to use tongue, all these instruments, like they call instruments inside of the mouth, and etc. It was hard enough. I was singing like a real song, but I needed to learn how Amre acted. And the next problem was the recordings that were explored in 1980s. They were scratched. They were in a bad condition, and we couldn't use them as original. So the production they had the problem to have the issue, they have the aim to find the person who could, I don't know, even like maximum be like a sort of Amre's voice, but I know it's impossible. But they found someone, and he was incredibly good. And I was needed to learn how he was singing this song. And I remember the day when we shot that, I had a flu, I had a temperature, and the director put like all the songs in a row, so there was like the whole contested day. So I was singing one song by one, and all these angles, dollies, and I think I would die at that time, but we did it.
What did this experience give you? I mean, how did you were very intense in your performance, so you could one could really tell that you want to be that character. You want to be, you want to feel what moved that character. We hardly have any documents about him, and so on, and you try to bring him to life and so on, and that performance stands out. What did that mean to you? To embody such a character?
First of all, that was one of the hardest project in all my life. Maybe it's not true, but spiritually, when we started the pre-production, during production and post-production, me and the whole crew faced a lot of problems from nowhere. And even during the shootings, I faced the things that Amre faced at his time. There were people on the set that were trying to say and find some bad things in my performance and send it to a producer and make them to change me to another person that they chose. You know what I'm saying? That was really, that was crazy, because they were filming it on a smartphone and sending only my bad takes and saying like, come on, we need to choose this one, come on, let's take this one. It was like the hardest project, and it helped me, it pushed me up as an actor. I travel a lot with that movie. People recognized me as an actor of that movie. They thought that I could never play that. It was challengeable because a lot of people told me like the Amri was different as I look, but after watching that movie, they say like after like few minutes of watching the movie, they forgot that Amri was looking different.
But that that's wonderful. I mean, that's a great success. That's really amazing. I didn't know that the film really had such a positive reception. So I mean, despite all the problems that you ran into, all this going on, it was a real satisfying experience for you in the end.
We shot it in absolutely 100%. No, it's 99% in English. So it was like a double challengeable for me. We shot it in Latvia.
Yeah.
We shot it with American director. I knew that people were gonna say a lot of things about it.
Yeah. So it was a big deal, right, for your reputation?
It was a big deal, absolutely.
And would you say it was worth it in hindsight?
Absolutely, 100%. If you ask me, do I want to repeat? I will say absolutely yes. Because after that project, my career went up. You know, I really appreciate that they chose me.
So you think that foreign directors, such as the one for Song, who actually more a photographer than a film director, that such people can actually empathize with Kazakhstani culture, with Kazakh music, and so on?
I think it's absolutely depends on the person. But talking about Jeff Vespa, he was like absolutely into that project. He read a lot of books about Kazakhstan, and he came here. He lived here a while. He met a lot of people. He met Satabaldi. He met people that like historians, you know. And even before we started to shoot the movie, he asked the crew to go to the tomb where Amre was buried and to ask the permission of the spirit of Amre's spirit to shoot the movie. Nobody told him about that.
That's a very Kazakh thing to do. That's a very Kazakh tradition to do.
Exactly. And we went there, and he was absolutely in that moment. He was so focused on that movie, and especially as he's a photographer, he knew all the angles that he wanted to shoot. We didn't spend like time for that to find the angle. He came on the set. He said, like, we need this, this, and this. Put that camera, put that lens. He's like he loves the details, and that I love in him. Like the costumes, the details to make it looks like a Paris at that time, the music, everything.
It's your second big role in a historical drama, where you play a character who is very well known in Kazakhstan. At least
it's a big pressure.
Yeah.
Huge pressure.
How did you cope with that?
Yeah, as you mentioned, I played like the last Khan of Kazakhs. It's a very important person for our history, for our nation, for our people. And the second one was Amre. Yes. But the main problem was as I mentioned before, there's a lack of information about Amre. We searched a lot of libraries, internet, people who wrote books about him, that they were like a lot of gaps inside of his history. So the scriptwriter decided to put he created some of them. As you know, we needed to put something because it couldn't be the information that we had. It was not enough to shoot a featured movie.
You mentioned that it is a challenge to portray a figure like Kenysary Khan. How did you prepare for that role?
Like a huge help gave me the director, Satsubalde, that passed away this year suddenly. And he was planning to shoot like the second episode, the second part of that movie. In the first Amanat, he shot like the quarter of my character, and he wanted to show it like more in the second part. But he didn't finish. He just started the shootings, but he didn't finish. That was very sad for all of us. But during the shooting for Amanat, we spoke a lot. He was like a huge library. He knew everything about everything. He was like encyclopedia, and every single question that I asked him, he was like, "Oh, I know the answer." And honestly, I was shocked when he chose me because, before that movie, a lot of producers and directors, they thought that I can play only like clerks in the banks, like the tycoon guy, rich guy, and nothing important, nothing special, nothing serious. He told me, "I see in you like a real last can of Kazakhstan, of Kazakh, Yeah. And that's really motivated me, because when the person like that would tell you this kind of words, and not one time, he mentioned it every time we've met to a lot of people. It doesn't matter he's like a rich as I don't know, he's like a tycoon, or he just part of a crew. He just like, look at him. He's a Kenysary. He called me my actor.
Yeah, I think your performance in that role, Kenysary, in Amanat, is one of your best performances. I really believe that. And there's one scene, and that's the scene where you actually go into the prison cell of Bekmukhanov, of the historian. So you basically cross timelines. You come from the past and go into this historian's Stalinist prison cell. This is one of the most emotionally powerful scenes in the new Kazakhstani cinema, and also in Narembietov's scene. So I think he picked you very, very well for that role, and for what he had in mind. That's my view. I think you performed there ideally. I really believe that.
It's quite an important turn in your career when you started working with Adilkhan Yerzhanov. This is very impressive when you really push boundaries and you want to show that you are trying to avoid being typecast, and you did quite well. So for example, in this film that we are showing tomorrow, it's Yellow Cat, you play Jean Bass, and it's a very interesting role. And who decided, like Adilkhan or you, how he acts, like the whole this caricature comedic elements and his makeup, wig, etc.?
I should say that everything started on one of the film festivals in Almaty city, and I was drunk, and I saw Adilkhan, and I was like, "Hey man, what's going on? Why aren't we working?" And he's like, "I think we couldn't afford you," and it's like, "It's bullshit. I can find money." And after that, I think it was like a month ago, his friend producer Serg, he called me. He's like, "We have a job. It was a movie called The Advice Fight. We presented it in Warsaw Film Festival. It was premiered there, and previously it was 1 month for me to become from a guy like 80 kilograms to become an MMA fighter and look like a pro. And that was a real challenge for me. And I started to train. I had like 2 trainers, and I sat on diet. It was 2,800 calories per day. So that's how we started to work with Adilkhan. And that was worth it because the film was good. Now it's streamed on Russian streamers. It's very good, And after that, he was like, "I'm going to shoot the opposite story. We need to change you directly." And I was like, "Yeah, we need to make me bald, fat, ugly, disgusting, everything. You need to change me, man." And he was like, yeah, you should do that. And we asked the makeup department to create something disgusting. Absolutely. And I just advised to make this, noisy voice. And my character had some, man's disease. He always wants to go pee. He walks like a penguin, and he's a crazy, he's a maniac. It was really fun to play that.
Your work with Adilkhan Yerzhanov has really shown very different facets of your talent. And, for example, in Yellow Cat, I mean, you're almost not recognizable. It's really hard to see that, oh, here's Sanjar Madi, and so is that something that you like about your work with a auteur director, with somebody who really is an individual artist? Is that something that attracts you to that?
It's like a play for me, it's like a game. Yeah. I always challenge myself. What can I do else? What can I surprise the audience more? Because they I think they're thinking that I can play only one role, one part role, one time role. And as I love working with him, he has the whole movie already in his head.
Yeah.
Everything. Second thing, he loves to when people are improvised. He improvises himself, and when actors are improvising. I love when we have this schedule when one day we're rehearsing the whole scene and the second day we're shooting that. After we're rehearsing and shooting, while we rehearse, we're finding all this funny stuff and like details in that scene. And the fourth thing, he sees in people things that not like an ordinary director will see in them.
I just realized that you were cast in the last film by Kim Ki-duk. How was the experience of working with someone like Kim Ki-duk?
That was funny story, because once I was called from a producer or partner of Kim, Mr. Kim, and they was like, man, I want to be honest with you. We cast like a senior person. He just rejected our role because there was a lot of sex in that movie. So Mr. Kim, he can't shot like an ordinary movie. It's a lot of masturbation, sex, harassment. And I was like, come on, man, you called to the right person. Where should I sign? He's like, really? And I was like, come on, it's Mr. Kim, man. It's like one life experience.
Yeah.
And I asked, like, do you need like full front, half front? What do you need? Should I like shave or not? I was like, he was like, are you serious? Like, yeah, and no shit, man. If you need to show, I will show. I mean, there's no like stuff. There's no taboo for me. If I need to show, I will. There's nothing to hide. He's like, yeah. I'll talk to Mr. Kim and we'll come back to you soon. I had about it was like 4 or 5 scenes, and in each scene it was like hard sex. It was growing the temp of having sex in that movie was growing during the last scene, and the last scene was like that was crazy for me.
We could probably avoid this question, but I'll just ask. We know that Kim Ki-duk was accused of inappropriate behavior towards the actresses that he worked with, and we know that he is not alone in this. What is your take on Me Too movement, and do you think it will be soon in Kazakhstani cinema as well?
I don't think it could be in Kazakhstan because our mentality is absolutely different. And I cannot tell about everyone, but I knew Mr. Kim. We chat a lot. We were friends. I can or could call him a friend. And as far as I know, women love him. He was always surrounded by women, and he loved them. Beautiful women. So I heard about that situation that happened to him in, I think it was Korea, right? And I think we got out like a half of the truth, because as I remember him, as I recall, he was like the nicest guy I ever met. So I don't think it will come to Kazakhstan, and I respect the Me Too thing, but it doesn't have to be like, the fanatic thing. So what happened to a lot of actors in Hollywood, I think it's insane.
Thank you. As we mentioned, you worked in a variety of genres. Which films, the experience of filming, you enjoyed the most?
I can't tell literally like this genre or this kind of movie I love most, because it's like stairs. Every single movie like a stairs for me. And sometimes I go up, and sometimes I go down. It depends on the movie. It's like a lot of you can't like you can plan or schedule what's going to happen after that movie. It depends on the montage. It depends on the composer, direction, a lot of things that are not you can't handle, So, but one of the most um, I would say I would call them like a destiny movie that helped me a lot as for an actor, as for a person, as for a man. It was Amre Kashaubayev. It was The Guardians, the superhero movie, The Clay Pit, and it's The Yellow Cat. Yeah, definitely. So it's like it's the movies that volumed my level of acting or being recognized as an actor.
You have to work with very individual directors with big egos. Marina Kunarova, Satyabaldy Narembetov, and so on. You have a whole range of directors who all have their own ideas and so on, and you don't have the reputation of being difficult. I mean, is there something in your professional ethics that makes you sense the idea of the director and then try to actually meet that sense?
I thought about it a lot, and I think the answer is my lifetime experience, because it was really tough, and I learned how to listen to a person. It's not especially a director or someone else, and it's very important to listen. And in their words, I'm trying to find the answer to their problem. So the main idea of being an actor, you have to be an answer to their question, the producers or the directors. So I'm trying to do my best. I'm like I don't know, trying to find the codes to their personality.
So I wanted to ask you something a little private, maybe, but also something about your public image. You have recently changed your name, your last name, from Madiev to Madi. Is it a de-Russification? What is it behind it? And
it's de-Russification because the ending of or yev, it's like a post-USSR thing. So the Madi is the name of my grandfather. So and as my ancestors, they didn't have this of or yev, ending. And I started to think about it after the movie The Guardians, because when I saw the poster, they were last names, even if they were Russians, they didn't have this of or yev. It was like Pampushny, Lanina, Sisak Sebastian, and my name, like Madiev. I was like, come on, guys. It's ridiculous. I'm not a Russian, and my last name is like Yev. And I hate it a lot because when you spell it in English, like Madiyev, it's very hard. Even the first name, Sanjar, I just cut it to J. And I was planning to change it in my passport, but it's a little bit complicated because I have visas, all this driving license, so I just keep it like for my stage name.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you, Sanjar. And I hope our viewers will enjoy the film.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
No, I appreciate it.
that.
And thank you, Assiya, for arranging that.